your organization has achieved a significant dent in vaccine mandates.
We didn't do the science. We didn't do the clinical trials. We didn't do the post-safety. But one thing we know it's rare.
Welcome to another episode of TFVC Shot Callers. I'm Rebecca Hardy. I have the honor of being the president of Texans for Vaccine Choice. And this episode, we're going to mix it up a little bit. We are going to have the entire Team TFVC here for our year in review episode. So welcome, Team TFVC. I'm so glad to see you, even though we're all virtual and in various parts of the state. This team is everything. And so thank you for agreeing to be on this. Some people had at least less than happy hearts about this, but everybody's here, and let's go. So I'm going to start with let's start with Carrie. So Carrie Bigford is our outreach director, and I have often referred to her as the Energizer Bunny or the missing piece to the TFVC puzzle. And we're so glad that she has been. Gosh, you've been here for what, three and a half years or so. Mm-hmm. So incredible addition to the team here. Carrie leads up our outreach program. If you don't know what our outreach program is, then I would highly encourage you to go to our website, texansforvaccinechoice.com, hit that Get Involved button. There is a drop down that says Train with TFVC. Learn more about this proprietary, exclusive, beautiful outreach program that Carrie is building for us. To date, she has onboarded nearly 100 volunteers. These are people that aren't just doing a shift at a convention, although we love those volunteers too. These are people that are trained, equipped, and empowered to reach their local communities for medical liberty. So, Carrie, with that said, here's my first question for you.
Okay.
And that is, of all the things that we have done this year, and there's been a lot, what is one thing that happened this year that you would say pushed you out of your comfort zone and, either like the lesson you learned or, what made you better at this work, or just kind of unpack. Are you already crying, Carrie?
No, my allergy stuff.
Okay. Well, it's okay if we end up with crying at some point on this episode.
I cried plenty when I looked at my volunteers and all the work they're doing.
Yes. Okay, Carrie, take it away.
So I guess the thing that pushed me the hardest was the sheer scale at what we've been doing. Like, I've been a medical liberty advocate for a quarter of a century, which makes me feel like I've been doing this a really long time. And one of the big things that was different about this was having to just make it reproducible and to do it in a system, to be able to take someone who's very new to medical liberty in general, and at the end of our training program, have them be a truly impactful advocate for medical liberty in Texas. And our volunteers, they really are integral team members, right? They're not just standing at a booth waving at people. Although I love when you stand at a booth and wave, you're out there networking for us. You're out there representing us in all different places and stages in Texas. You're out there working at government meetings and networking with those board members and really making a difference in your local area. You're out there talking to total random strangers that you didn't know before about medical liberty topics. I mean, you're a real integrated team member. And so for me, the challenge was doing that. So many. We trained almost 100 people. I had never done that before. I had just been a passionate volunteer. I never imagined this would be my job. And so that has been my biggest challenge. But my favorite side effect has been watching our team grow and watching them, the advocates come in, frightened and nervous, and maybe they've had bad experiences in the past. And then they come and they join us, and I just watch them bloom and become more than they were before, and to kind of push their own boundaries beyond what they even imagined could happen. And so, that's my favorite part. But the challenge has definitely been the sheer volume of people that we have had through our program in the last 2 years, for sure.
That is really beautiful. I want to just, pile on to that. Seeing these advocates, we kind of have lifted the veil, if you will, on effective advocacy, right?
Absolutely.
Like is it easy? No. But is it impossible?
No.
Also,
Oh, yeah,
right?
absolutely not. It's very possible.
We have demystified the process on how to reach people, their hearts and minds. We often say we are fighting for people that even hate us, right?
Right.
And we are unlocking kind of the formula of how to reach those that even may not be completely on board yet without those conversations.
A lot of
going
people
sideways.
misunderstand medical liberty, and they misunderstand the value that we provide for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So shifting just a little bit, if you had to fast forward to next December, this time next year, right? What do you hope that the outreach program or Team TFVC will be celebrating on this podcast?
I mean, onboarding another 50 people and increasing our monthly engagement even more, because right now we do between 50 and 60 planned outreach encounters every month. I would love to double that by next year. And again, just watching their growth, their increased confidence as our existing volunteers continue to grow in their own abilities and their own confidence and their own, engagement level, just watching that continue to expand. And just, it's so neat to watch them discover how vital and impactful they really are. There's been a lot of concerted effort towards disempowerment and making us feel like we aren't enough to do it. And I love to show volunteers that you are enough. You've always been enough. You always will be enough. And you don't have to just sit around and take these policies. You can push back, and you can push back effectively.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I have watching our OCs, our outreach coordinators, really, come into their own and get empowered from the wins and successes they have. It's really been just the cherry on top of what I would say a pretty incredible year at TF. Very cool.
I love our volunteers, and I'm so thankful for them. And it's such a blessing to get to spend so much time getting to know them and to coach them. I'm so thankful that they're willing to be guided and that they're willing to take that advice and become better advocates because of it.
Very cool. All right, let's, I didn't tell them what order I was going in. I said I was going to just any, mini, miny, mo. So Kelly, you are up. So Kelly is our communications director. And she's like, I say in many ways behind the scenes, because she's answering every email, every form on our website that is fill outable goes to Kelly. All the social media messages, like it is an onslaught of communication. The amount of resources and texts we connect is never ending, and I don't even know the half of it. So thank you, Kelly, for all the ways that you help empower Texans and connect them to resources they didn't even know that we had. With that said, was there one, I'm going to just say like email, message, call, whatever you want to say, one email or contact that has stuck with you from this year that has reminded you just how much and why our work matters?
I don't want to be cliche with my answer, but literally every single one, every single person that writes into us, I want to say it fills my heart because they trust us, as a trusted resource to tell them correct information, to show them what our laws are, what their rights are, and that knowing that we will help them, that we are someone in Texas that they can go to. And most people learn about our organization from word of mouth. And so that also fills my heart because we literally are a group of moms who had, something happen to our children or it affected us or a family member, and we did not want to take it anymore. And so we said, we're going to do something. And so every person who writes in knows we will help them because they're in the same shoes that we used to be in. So I can't choose just one. It's all of them. Thank you, if you're watching this, for trusting us.
That is a beautiful answer. Not one I was expecting, but you're. I mean, I just want to co-sign that. I mean, every one of these questions and circumstances, and in many circumstances, tragedies, is one that I mean, I always say that our jobs are, yes, it's a job, but in many, many days, it is more of a ministry than it is a job because of, you can just imagine the stories that we hear. And a lot of people, unfortunately, find us because of some negative outcome. And we don't wish that on anyone. But if we can help be a support in their darkest moment, then like we're here to help for sure. This year has also, Kelly, been, I would say, a year of just a lot of first time events, right? Things that we maybe didn't necessarily have on our nonprofit bingo card as far as doing or hosting. So what one event would you say captured the heart of our mission the most, or maybe stuck out to you the most, and why does it stand out?
Well, it wasn't a first-time event.
But before you answer, I just want to say, the reason why I put this question on my Kelly list is because this year has been the year that you've been able to actually come to a lot more things than you have been in the past. You were there on opening day of session. You've been there for so many events. And for many, many, many years, you were basically the queen of all these things. You were keeping a lot of balls, plates spinning, if you will, but you were not front and center. And so it's just warmed my heart so much to be able to lock arms with you, like not just figuratively, but literally at these events this year.
Yep. This has been a whirlwind of a year. It's been a blessing to be able to travel and go to all the places and not just be, I'd say, stuck in my one town, but my one town is massive, Houston, Texas. And so, we have thousands and thousands of supporters here. And so, of course, they've kept me busy over the years. But being able to, go to Dallas and San Antonio and Austin numerous times this year has just been really exciting for me. But the one event that really stood out to me the most was our rally and our 10th anniversary birthday party at the Capitol. Because for 15 years of having the online community for support for parents of vaccine-injured children, it was the first time I got to meet a lot of them in real life. And I've known them for 15 years, like intimately, talking all the time. And so there were so many hugs and tears, and that was just really exciting for me.
I will co-sign that, in that rally was pretty momentous. From, I think about that first one, and Michelle, you were there, that first one in 2015 when we
was it a rally?
We'll call it a rally, right? And we spun it up in 3 weeks, right? And at that time, we had 2 brave legislators willing to come out on those South steps with us. And what was just like nearly brought me to tears during our rally this year is that we introduced nearly, 40 state representatives and state senators that showed up to lend their support during our rally. And those were just the ones that could get out of committee and show up. That wasn't even everybody that was invited. So to just that metric alone, from like 2 brave souls 10 years ago, fast forward a decade, and having this like dozens and dozens and dozens showing up was historic for sure. Very cool. All right, Michelle. Okay, yeah. Michelle. Okay, she was one of the original founders of Texans for Vaccine Choice. It's now nearly about 10 and a half, almost 11 years ago now, and now acts as our political director. So she's our primary boots on the ground at the Capitol, just juggling all the things. Also heading up our voter guide and all of our election recommendations, as well as, goodness, I could just rattle off our attorney general opinions and our open records requests and our lawsuits against tyrannical government bureaucracies. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. But Michelle, that said, what is, in your opinion, what was the most meaningful legislative or policy victory TFVC had this year? And with that, what is something listeners might not know about how that win came together?
So there were a few really, really standout great bills that happened during the regular session. But I think what really was the most impactful for me personally, for our organization, and for the state of Texas was HB 25 by Representative Joanne Schaffner, which allows ivermectin to be sold without a prescription at pharmacies. So this was like a surprise. It came out of nowhere. We did our kind of post-regular session, post-mortem, and I was going through all the comments, public comments that had been submitted online for each of the bills that had gotten the hearing. And as I scrolled through page after page after page of comments for the original bill, House Bill 3219, during the regular session, I discovered that there were over 600. And by far, that was the most popular bill that we supported, which was actually quite surprising to me because it didn't fit neatly in our lane, so to speak. And I think you and I had actually had some conversations about it before we decided to publicly support it. Like, this is not vaccines, it's not vaccine choice, but it does fit under the wheelhouse of medical liberty. So we decided to push ahead. And not only was Representative Schaffner such a breath of fresh air in her authenticity and her huge heart. She's doing this for people in her district. It was not one of those runaway popular issues, but she was dedicated to it and wanted to learn. It didn't get through in the first regular session, didn't get through in the first special session. But what kept it going was that we decided to turn those 600 comments into 7,000 petition signatures from across the state, which we were able to deliver to Governor Abbott's office and say, please put this on the special session call. And then out of nowhere, when opening the second special session, House Speaker Dustin Burrows not only recognized Joanne Schaffner for all of her tireless work to get people to sign on to this bill and support it, but then made it a priority during the second session. So it was almost guaranteed to pass. And so it was just a win for everybody. I think we did so much work on the back end with our supporters to get them invigorated to support this bill. And it was just, I don't know, it was one of those like, don't ever let anybody tell you you can't type of moments.
I'll just piggyback on that bill. The day that it was heard in the Capitol building, it was heard in committee, in the House committee, heard in House calendars, voted second and third reading in the House, heard in the Senate committee, and voted on the second and third reading completely out of both chambers in one day. So that was what Michelle and I were like, what
whiplash.
It was like the happiest form of whiplash. And on top of that, it happened to be a day that Bobby Kennedy happened to be at the Capitol for something unrelated to the ivermectin bill. And it was just one of those like, what is our life right now moments. Right. And it was just the cherry on top of a really cool day. And a reminder that then when these state reps come home and say, we just ran out of time, listen, when they want to make something happen, it can happen, and it can happen very quickly. In one day, we apparently is also within the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
I think we would be remiss not to spike the football one more time on the print from home exemptions as well. The ivermectin bill absolutely is just like the coolest victory. And I will tell you, I did probably a half a dozen. I mean, you and I both did probably half a dozen interviews about the ivermectin bill once it got passed. And the first question that these reporters would ask me, like, y'all are a vaccine choice group. Tell me how this makes sense. And I, reiterated what you just said. Like, we go where our supporters lead us, and we were compelled to follow their lead. And it was a very happy victory for all Texans. But the print from home exemptions, I mean, this has been something we have been working on literally since our inception to free the forms so that parents are empowered to print those exemptions for enrollment in daycare, school, and higher education from home instead of having to ask permission from the health department for, permission to just say no. It was a system that was antiquated and it was time to go. And that is just a very, very huge leap forward in our rates here in Texas.
I don't want to discount that victory, but that was more of like a slow burn, right? It was a chipping away session after
Yes.
session. And HB 25 was just like one fell swoop. Like, let's just get it all done in one session, or 3 to be exact, but in 1 year.
1 year.
So it was just kind of amazing how quickly it went.
It was absolutely the biggest, most meaningful, like I said, just is this real life moment.
Yeah.
So it is huge. I didn't want to like just pass over from home exemptions either. Okay, that said, next question is just there were a lot of challenges this year, right? A lot of challenges. So what is one battle that surprised you the most?
The exemption thing was baffling because it literally is just a piece of paper. There's nothing protective about that paper. It's not sanitized. It's, nothing. So I think it's really so absurd that we put so much focus, or at least the opposition put so much focus. That was the first time we have ever been so completely outnumbered in a hearing, to my memory, since the beginning, right? What was interesting was 10 years ago when we were founded, it was in response to a measles epidemic or outbreak in California. Fast forward to 2025, we have a measles outbreak in West Texas. The juxtaposition between those two outbreaks is really mind-blowing to me, because there was so much panic in 2015 and so much reactionary legislation, not just in Texas, but throughout the United States. And when I was at the Capitol with Cheryl from the New York Times and we were visiting with different supportive legislators, one of the questions she kept asking is, do you ever think about like being so vocal in support of medical liberty during a time like this when, the measles is kind of spreading in West Texas? And every single legislator was like, I don't think about that. I mean, it was the stark contrast between so much panic and like hushed conversations in the hallway. Don't tell people, but I do support you, to just this boldness that we had not seen under essentially the same circumstances, and the utter lack of pushback in legislation. At the very least, we got a lot of pushback in the media. That's to be expected, but nobody was even thinking about backing down or backing off of this. There were dozens of bills filed that we supported despite that backdrop. So that was kind of, that was great. I thought it was going to be a challenge, but it was actually something that boosted our successes.
Yeah. And it really is a testimony to just how much headway we've made. And I'm not saying it's we, the 5 of us. I mean, it's we
Right.
as a state, everybody that's made a phone call, sent an email, shown up to testify, met with their legislator. I mean, we have every single time you do a small action, it moves the needle and it drives the conversations and it emboldens your electeds to take these positions that 10 years ago were not popular. And now here we are where, and to be clear, back in 2015, I mean, the measles while there was 100-ish cases in the nation, it was hardly any in Texas. And so 10 years later, we had like 800 cases in Texas proper, and it still just wasn't even really, the people that supported us still supported us. Those that opposed us in the Capitol building still opposed it. It literally made no difference, which is a tremendous testimony to just how much progress we've made on the issue here.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. Yvette is we did the math earlier this morning, and it was 2.5 years ago that she came on part-time. Earlier this year, she came on full-time. And so she may be the lesser known staff member of Team TFVC to our listeners, watchers. I don't know, however you watch this podcast.
Audience.
Our audience. Thank you. But she is our executive assistant. So she helps with all of this, like the back end things that keeps all the trains running. And we call the pre-Yvette days the dark ages,
Definitely
because
were the dark ages.
we need Yvette to keep us,
Yes.
all the bills paid, all the T's crossed, all the things. So she has kind of a more unique perspective on how TFVC operates and where we, kind of where we've been and where we're headed. So with that said, and from your perspective, how has TFVC evolved behind the scenes in ways that the public may not realize?
Well, I want to start with just the power of having all these components in our team and then working together. When it all comes together, synergy happens. I love that word. And I think that that's what I see the most in this team and our supporters, our volunteers, all of it is just I get the background view and I see all the parts put together like a puzzle, and it works beautifully. And I feel like in the 2.5 years, I've seen growth. I've seen so much growth. And so that's a short time compared to the 10 years, and there's growth there. But I see just this booming partnership that we're touching hands and linking arms with different groups and organizations and people beyond just our little group, and when we link arms with different organizations or projects, you get that movement and that momentum just grows even more. And so I've seen that, and just how important, like I think Callie had said, every person, every donor, every supporter, volunteer, it just matters so much. And it's beautiful to see, from this perspective, it's really pretty and encouraging too. There's some energy happens when you partner up with all these people versus, you could do something by yourself, but partnering up is the way to go because, it excites people. It brings that drive, I think. Going to different conferences, that's been a treat for me also, seeing the movement when you're connected with these groups and other like-minded individuals. Everybody's pumped up. Everybody is okay, let's do this. What can we do next? What can we do next to push a little more? So, yeah.
Very cool. I just, as an aside, we've been this kind of tight-knit little group for a while now, and it was going to take a very special individual to kind of weave into this team. And Yvette has just been this perfect, wonderful addition. I remember our first coffee. I remember going back to the team and I said, she's one of us. I think she's one of us. I am so thankful
an hour
for all the ways of y'all just don't even know the half of it. So anyway, she really just does so much. Was the MVP behind our weekend at Children's Health Defense and coordinating 3 other events that were happening in other parts of the state at the same time as being there. And so that was just really, really great. So with that said, if there's one, I don't know, lack for a better word, metric or milestone or some sort of measurable change that shows TFVC's growth, what would it be from your perspective?
Well, again, I think I go back to having all the support. So between these dedicated outreach coordinators who are unpaid volunteers that are doing great things, and they're so important and vital. And then we have volunteers beyond that, or people that want to get involved in little ways or behind the scenes. And then all of our donors, our monthly donors, the extended donors that pop in here and there and we get some large donation, all of those pieces are part of the movement and the important metrics, right? I don't know how to put it into one single one. It's just it's just really, we need all of it. And when we get those little just special notes from people, even those are so heartwarming and touching. And that may come in with some random donation or a random monthly donor that just wants to express some more gratitude, or they saw us at an event. And then even out of state people, that blew my mind. How many out of state people are so thankful for what we're doing here and want to find out, how can we do that over here? How can we start to push back? So I think it's just really neat. It's just that connectivity and everybody continuing to give in different ways.
I say like, I wish that our work was free, right? But like, it costs a lot of money to take on the biggest industry in the nation, right? Like we don't ever have to match Big Pharma dollar for dollar, right? Like they don't have the love of our families that we have that drives us more than the dollar. But we do need money to, we do a lot of things and we do a lot with a little. But we are looking forward to the day where we are doing even more with more. And it's those notes that come when people take the time to write a note and put it in the mail. Like I cannot tell you, like the number of like teary eyes that I get from like the mailbox. It is absolutely wind in our sails. Yes.
And the sweet lady who sends us $1 every now and then.
Oh, I know.
It's sweet.
It's very.
She has a handwritten letter.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
It's just like the story in the Bible, the lady who had very little, but it was all she had. And so that's why it was so much more meaningful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Giving out of the need, it's humbling, honestly. It really is.
Okay.
All right. Well, I have a few little, I'll say round robin. And so you don't have to answer, but if you have like a quick little pithy, answer for any of these, just chime in and I will too. So here's one, and y'all just can fight over who goes first. If you had to describe TFVC's year, our 2025, in one word, what would it be?
Roller coaster.
Why?
A trail on fire because we blazed so many new ones.
Yes.
There you go. I like that one.
My word is monumental. Literally monumental. Not only was it our 10th anniversary, but Bobby Kennedy becoming HHS secretary, Aaron Siri book signing, the Follow the Silence winning the award and having the screening in Austin. Just hello. It's amazing. It's monumental.
Monumental. I like it. Carrie, Yvette?
I would say purpose-driven. I mean, it's kind of 2 words unless you want to make it a hybrid word, but
we'll hyphen. It's fine.
We're really getting to see our team firing on all cylinders with such a clear purpose and persevering regardless of obstacles. I mean, our volunteers are volunteers and they have lives and they have families and they commit to us and they are reliable and trustworthy team members. And all of us, they're supporting them. Like, it's just incredible to watch them live out their purpose.
I would say synergistic momentum, if I could do 2 words. Because we do.
I did like 5.
All
so.
the words.
We're like on a roll. We're on a roll. And like Michelle said, like we're trailblazing, it's just, yeah.
Yeah. I think we're all a little tired from 2025, if I had to say. That it's been historic. I know we keep on beating that same horse, but like it has been a historic year between tracking over 70 good bills. I think about like in those early sessions, we were rejoicing if there were 6 good bills to follow, and we knew none of them had a chance of passing. And this year we were supporting nearly 70 bills, and we had 7 standalone bills fully pass. I mean, that was tremendous, historic in and of itself. Add on to that our 10th anniversary, going to LA and for that, the movie screening, hosting a movie premiere in Austin, going to DC and being in that Senate hearing and a congressional screening of that documentary too. I mean, it's just the and of this year. It has been equal parts historic and exhausting, but in the happy sense of the word.
And like all right. Rebecca and I kept saying, when it slows down, we'll get to this project. And then the next month would come and we're like, well, maybe it's not going to slow down.
Spoiler alert, it's not going to slow down.
No. Oh my, I'm laughing at the number of times we said that. When it slows down. Joke's on us. Yeah. Okay, next little round robin is just what is your funniest, strangest, most intense, most emotional, whatever you want to say, like memory or experience from this year's work?
But what I'm thinking of is unrelated to TFVC.
Keep it G.
Well,
Keep it PG
No, I
rated.
know. I remember Chad Shoemake falling down the stairs, but that's unrelated to our work. But that was the funniest moment of
That
the
was funny. Chad, we loved you, but that was funny. It's only funny
Strange.
because you didn't die.
The movie premiere, because it's been such a crazy year, I'd almost forgotten that had happened this year. But the movie premiere in LA was truly bizarre. It was a very surreal moment to be, as a Texas legislative advocacy organization, to be given like a filmmakers award is like, still doesn't jive with me. Like, it just doesn't add up, but it happened and it was great. And, being at the kind of after party or whatever they had, where everybody was just like, the women in Texas are doing it the right way. They were just in awe that we were, just moms. We didn't have any experience, and we have blazed so many trails here in the last 10 years. So that was probably the most standout moment.
I remember, Michelle, that moment when we got called up to the stage to receive our trophy. Like, y'all don't understand. Michelle is not a crier. Okay. And we both looked at each other and we kind of had tears in our eyes. And it was just this and every time I tell the story, I tear up again. But it was just such a moment of 10 years ago, we were just a few moms standing on the Capitol steps. We don't know what we're
listen
doing.
to us.
Yeah, we're going to figure this out, but please listen to us. And then 10 years later, we are in LA in the belly of the beast, where the most oppressive, medical tyranny occurred, winning this award for a movie that we helped produce. I mean, it was just, it was a moment. It really, really was. So, okay, Kelly.
What's the question? Oh, the funniest thing. Gosh, why did you ask me?
Most memorable.
Okay.
Most memorable, most emotional, most
Okay.
intense.
Someone's got to say it. Russell Brand and his various lack of outfits everywhere.
Clothing.
Like, why? God love him. Thank you, Russell, for sharing, our mission, and for, putting us out in the mainstream media. But, logging in from the bathtub or walking around the CHD conference in his, is it underwear?
A bathrobe. Just say it. A bathrobe and slippers.
Slippers?
Did he really?
Maybe it was swimming trunks. I don't know. But that's, you asked for something funny, and that entertains me.
It's a choice.
So
That
It's
was
most memorable.
that was something. All right. What else we got?
My most memorable was, every year I get the pleasure to tour Texas and visit our OCs in their home territory. And we do a skill building summit in person, and we do a lot of role playing, a lot of really deep diving into our skill sets. And every year when I do this, I get unexpected, phenomenal feedback from our volunteers I get to hear about this, all the ways in which this program has changed them, how they're using our communication tools everywhere, not just in outreach, and how they're getting tremendous benefit from that, how they have grown as a person and for the better through this program, and how they've made such strong connections with their local other, volunteers that they didn't know before. And that feeling of community that they were seeking that brought them here, that they're actually getting from us in a very real way. It's more than one moment, but it was a theme of just unexpected benefits. I could never have dreamed that they would grow so much and so fast and so far. It's just tremendous. Yeah. I love them.
Beautiful.
I love them so much.
Anything to add, Yvette?
I would say the movie premiere, one in Austin, and just being a part of that movement was probably the most emotional. Meeting the people in person and hearing their story, be able to get broadcasted out to a wider audience. And I think that would be exciting for us to be able to do more with awareness in that way, in a huge way, that everybody watches documentaries, movies. It's just a really good way, but that was an emotional time for sure. It's like
Yeah.
You keep talking about this Austin premiere. I guess I wasn't invited to it.
You were invited. I feel like we need to just address the elephant in the room. And Michelle was not there. But the reason why she was not there is because it was the deadline in the House for bills to be heard. And so, like the dedicated political director that she is, she was like, I can't leave. We've got too many things still in the hopper. And so Michelle took one for the team,
Yes.
stayed in the very cold, dark, sometimes very sad Capitol building while we were, hamming it up at the Bob Bullock with this, star-studded event with the Follow the Silence premiere. So thank you, Michelle, for your
support. Yvette talked about the synergy that we have, and that was kind of an emblematic moment where, like, I'm very much the lone wolf that loves to do the yucky, dirty legislative side. So it was like I was with my people and you guys were doing your side that's more emotional and more like connection, and I was hamming it up with legislative staff.
That may be the case, but we could still miss you. So
yeah, I know.
Sometimes we have these like forced emotional moments and she just has to live through it. And then she's like, just don't hug me. Just no hugs. Yeah, that's okay. Let's land this plane, ladies. If there's one thing you want our audience to know heading into 2026, what would it be?
We are here to support you.
That's good.
Yeah.
Get involved.
The federal government's not going to save you.
The federal government's not going to save you.
No.
Listen. 95% of vaccine policy is set at the state level. Get your eyes off DC, focus at the state level where you can make a difference. What did you say, Kelly?
Get involved.
Get involved. We have a role for you. Learn more, get plugged in, we have unlocked the secret sauce. Yvette?
I was going to piggyback on Kelly. I was thinking jump in. Just jump in. No matter how small, it doesn't matter. It all is needed.
Yeah, that's right. And I will just land this plane and just say, yes, if I had to tell y'all one thing, it would just be that we are uncompromising defenders of medical liberty in Texas. And there's a place for you here. For everybody that has made a phone call, sent an email, done anything, shown up, volunteered, it has added up to this just huge momentum. And this is a moment in history for our movement that we may not get back. And so we best not squander this moment and, pedal to the metal and go where the fight is. I think that Big Pharma and whatever you want to call it, the deep state, they want us distracted and divided by what's happening in DC. But there is something beautiful happening here at the state level. So come lock arms with us. It has been a tremendously historic year. And I want to thank everybody that made it possible for us to do this vital work. And here's to 2026, where maybe not quite so many new trails will be blazed, but we are not allergic to hard work around here. So whatever comes our way, we'll be ready for it. And we just wish everybody a very happy holidays and a happy new year. And here's to year 11 in 2026. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Thank you for listening to the Shot Callers podcast. Please, if you found value in this content, rate us and share the podcast with a friend. It's a great way to get the message out and to empower everyone to make informed decisions. Until next time, never forget, we are the Shot Callers.